Yo, so guys, welcome back to another video. This is another reaction to Lost in the Pond, and the video is 28 British versus American words for food. Usually it's just like 7 or 8, so I mean, he's treating us with this one, but the thumbnail was courgette and zucchini. That's one that I did know. There's another one, eggplant and aubergine. I think they're the two ones I only actually know. Other than that, I don't think I would know differences unless he mentions them and I sort of remember, oh wait, I do remember hearing that. But I mean, yeah, this is just one of those videos. I do a lot of these sort of different words for different places kind of videos between the US and the UK. And I always find them quite interesting how it sort of differentiates. Like, again, words like zucchini, I feel like my nan actually says it. I remember when I was younger, when I was a kid, like, 7, 8, and we'd be like walking around and she used to like grow vegetables in their garden. And she would like she would name or like say them, like zucchini. And I feel like that's probably why I would know that word, because it is a different one. And when you like, in general, you wouldn't hear people say that specific word. So I mean, maybe it's just an older generation thing in the UK, but I don't know. It's just, maybe some people just say it. Again, an older generation thing. Maybe it was a word that was initially used in the UK and sort of gradually changed. I don't know. Maybe we'll learn about that through this video, but we're going to check this out. Hopefully you're going to enjoy. Shout out to my Instagram and Twitter, links in the description if there's interested. Save for my Patreon, but let's jump into this one, man. 28, man. It's usually like 7 or 8, so he's giving us a big batch of stuff here. Come on.
Hello, I'm Lawrence.
I'm Tara.
And
fucking. Oh my days, my ears.
we are on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America
Lost in the pond.
And one of those memos pertains to food.
Food.
Specifically, the words we use to describe them. George Bernard Shaw once said that Britain and America are two nations divided by a common language. And nowhere is this more evident when it comes to the things we put in our mouth. Food.
And so today we are going to be talking about 28 different British and American words for food. So just as a disclaimer, I actually use the British terminology for most of these nowadays because I've just been with you so long.
Yeah, sorry, I feel like a king.
And as such, I might actually forget the American words too, but bear with me, I'll try to give you some context.
And so, without further ado, let the buffet commence. All right, well, one entry in and I already want
Yorkshire pudding. That's Yorkshire pudding, right?
to eat the picture. Wife, what do you call this?
Well, I call it a Yorkshire pudding, but it is a popover in this country.
Popover, bro, these bang, man. I swear to God. I don't know why they're called Yorkshire puddings. I don't know if they actually initially came from Yorkshire or if just that's where the best ones in the UK come from. But mate, these with like gravy and like a Sunday roast. Oh my God, man. They are the greatest invention I've ever had. There's ever been in terms of food. I don't even care.
Country.
But again, my influence has paid off. I also call it a Yorkshire pudding, not to be confused with pudding that we use to describe desserts in Britain. This is a savoury meal that you would eat as perhaps part of a Sunday roast.
Fun fact, I learned to make these before I met him.
Did you?
Yeah, and I'll explain it more when I actually make a video about them.
So at first glance, I think I'd call this chocolate sauce, but that's not what this photo is of. Well, I mean, I can't describe it without giving away the answer, although I could just tell you what I call it. It would be black treacle.
Oh, it's molasses.
Now, apparently these have different names around the
Black treacle. What would you have that with? I guess it's quite sweet because treacle is sweet, isn't it? It's like treacle tarts and stuff, maybe?
world, but where I grew up, this was known as a Swiss roll.
Swiss roll.
I think it was a Swiss roll where I grew up too, but I think the Swiss rolls that I ate as a kid
Different colours. Like they were like jam.
came in Little Debbie boxes or something like that at least.
Now this one's an interesting one to me because when I first moved here, I ordered some of this at Qdoba, and I think I referred to it then, as I always have, as sweet corn.
What else could it be called? I guess corn, maybe?
But we call it corn.
But I should say that I have on occasion heard people in the US refer to it as sweet corn as well. It's just not as widespread as you would find in the UK. Right, if you know your onions, because that's a
Spring
phrase,
onion.
then you'll know that this is a specific kind of onion. And where I come from, refer to this as a spring
Come
onion.
on.
And I refer to the top of it as spring onions and the bottom of it as scallions because that's the type of onion that it is.
Are you making a compromise with your husband, or is that just fact?
I think it might just be fact, but you're going to have to look up on your botany.
Americans, just like Brits, do enjoy their Italian food, and this, where I come from, would have been referred to, and still is, I think, as either spaghetti bolognese or spag bol, because we like to shorten things.
I think it's hilarious that you all call it spag ball.
What do you call it?
Just spaghetti.
There are more syllables in spaghetti than in spag bol.
We just don't talk about the bolognese part.
Now there's
What? But it could be anything with spaghetti. What?
type of milk, the name of which Brits and Americans can't agree on, and it's
Skim and
this.
skimmed.
I refer to this type of milk as skimmed milk.
And I just say
Skim, last video.
skim milk or non-fat.
Do you know who came up with that?
No.
It wasn't Americans, it was Shakespeare. I think this is another
Yeah,
one
I
that
can
should
see
come with a
that.
caveat and serviette / napkin. Because I think the word we use in Britain is in use here, but just like with sweet corn, it's not as widespread as it might be in Britain. In Britain, I'd refer to this as a profiterole.
Bro,
And I think of it as a cream puff.
bro, they are so good, man. I've not had them for so long. These remind me of like my childhood. Like when it was like someone's birthday, like one of my brother's birthdays, and we'd be treated and have like some of these. Oh, mate. Nah, these slapped back in the day, man. I need to get some, but they're so bad for you.
And I think of it as a cream puff.
Wife, you're a big fan of seafood.
I am. I just had some really good sushi for lunch today.
That's good, and while I absolutely hate sushi, I do
What?
like a good round of prawns.
Right, there were shrimp in my sushi too.
Right, so when you say shrimp, that's the same thing as prawns. It's crazy.
What's a tiger shrimp to you?
No idea.
A tiger prawn.
All right, sometimes I like to make my own burgers, and when I
Minced
do,
meat.
I use this.
Ground beef.
Or as I would call it, minced beef, because we love that.
Minced meat, minced beef. Yeah, I think I'm just wrong with that. Yeah, just mince.
Word, right? Minced beef, minced pies, after 8 mince, they're all different words. Well now, wife, since I know for a fact this is one of your favourite meals, I'm going to allow you to go first on this.
I do love a good macaroni and cheese.
But you'll sometimes say
Mac
mac
and
and
cheese.
cheese, right?
Yeah.
But either way, the crucial component here is the word and. We don't bother with that in Britain. To us, this is just macaroni cheese. Don't ask me why.
That looks disgusting.
Tell that to 19-year-old Lawrence Brown
Kebab.
drunk on a Friday night in Grimsby. Because back in the day, these were very popular for that demographic.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I like a good hero, but
Wait, what did you just call it?
a hero.
A hero?
Well, sure, that's what it is.
What's heroic about it?
No, Gyro, a hero.
That's the word that everyone thinks is pronounced gyro. Well, the thing that's very similar to a hero is called a doner kebab.
Where are you finding these
Jelly Jello. I know this
I
one.
have my sources. And while this might look like some, aloe vera, it is in fact what I would call jelly.
Jello. Really gross Jello.
So this one brought up a bit of confusion to me because when I first moved here and we had ham for Christmas, this didn't resemble what I would call ham in Britain. In fact, it looked more like gammon.
Gammon.
Oh, wow.
That's the one.
That's really interesting.
And I hate gammon. Is this the really, really salty one? Bro, it's so damn salty, man. If it's what I'm thinking it is.
Interesting, because I have never heard that before. And in fact, isn't gammon a specific cut of meat? Because to me, that is just a spiralized ham, or at least I suspect it's spiralized in terms of cut. It's kind of hard to tell.
Over the years, a lot of
Fish
my
fingers?
subscribers have told me that
My
they've
childhood?
seen this very food item in Walmart as being marked from my hometown of Grimsby. And that should tell you that I used to eat these for breakfast. I didn't mean to admit that. I would call these fish fingers.
And I would call them fish sticks, and for the record, I ate them a lot growing up too, but
Childhood, man.
not for breakfast.
I still haven't
For
got
dinner?
used to fish sticks.
For breakfast? What?
Well, you wouldn't dip your fish sticks in these, would you, wife?
No, give me custard any day.
And I have to say, before I moved to the United States, I didn't really partake of these very often, but if I did, I would have called these fairy cakes.
And I call them cupcakes because
Yeah, that varies, to be honest. I feel like people here would call them cupcakes. I might just call it a brownie, even if it's not a brownie, to be honest, just because it's chocolate flavoured, I
they're
think.
baked in a cup.
And they're cakes. It's not just that the United States has Lay's instead of Walkers. Even the very product in the bag goes by a different name.
Potato chips.
And of course, where I grew up, these were referred to as crisps. There's just, I can't go on. I cannot go on looking at that. But in the name of professionalism, we do have to name this screened object. It's not something that I've eaten often, but when I used to see it on the shelves at Asda, I think this used to go by a French word, courgette.
And they are very tasty, but I think they're called zucchinis.
Well, at this point, all of this talk of food has got me very excited about something that arrived today.
This video is sponsored by...
Yo! I literally had this. He's got a sponsor. Shut up, bro. I actually had this. I might get it back because Avery gave you some good meals. You know what? I might actually watch this ad just to see what it say because I used to get this when I first moved here for the first like 4 or 5 months. I had this, man. I didn't know it was in the US.
Fresh, who bring you mouth-watering seasonal recipes and fresh pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. For busy, on-the-go YouTube sensations like me, HelloFresh has been a lifesaver. So consider HelloFresh your mealtime solution for any busy moment. HelloFresh has more 5-star recipes than any other meal kit, so you know you'll get something that tastes brilliant. With HelloFresh, produce gets to you faster than a grocery store, so it arrives at peak freshness and flavor.
Every Monday, every start of the month, every Monday it would arrive. And actually, I think it came every time. And I think we only ever had one issue. And I mean, in terms of like 4 or 5 months that we were getting it, that ain't too bad.
Don't believe me? Well, the average trip to the grocery store takes 41 minutes. With HelloFresh, you can skip those trips and get everything that you need to make chef-curated meals delivered to your door. What's more, you can save up to 30% by using HelloFresh versus grocery store shopping. HelloFresh's pre-portioned ingredients means there's less prep for you and less wasted food. Moreover, the packaging that HelloFresh uses to ship your food is almost entirely made from recyclable and/or already recycled content. Go to hellofresh.com and
You know what? I'm letting them run this ad, man.
use my code LostInThePond14 to get 14 free meals, including free shipping.
Will this work for me? Will this work for me? Bro, I'm writing this shit down right now. I'm not even joking. I was literally thinking, me and my girlfriend were thinking about getting this back. If I can get myself some free meals, there's no pen. No, I'm gonna forget about it. Oh no, here it is.
Code LostInThePond14.
I don't even care. Lost in the pond. 14. HelloFresh. Bro, if there's not a limit on this and people haven't done that, I am getting myself some food for the next few weeks, man. Come on, baby.
To get 14 free meals, including free shipping. Those details are in my description box below.
And now we begin our final 10.
You've certainly whetted my appetite.
It was a joke. So I have to admit, for the first, 30 years of my life, I detested lettuce. So I didn't really eat much of it in Britain. But I've come to find that my fellow Brits refer to this as cos lettuce.
I think we just call it romaine, but I'm not really sure why.
But
Isn't it iceberg lettuce?
can tell you why we call it cos lettuce, because it's connected to the island of Kos.
Oh, is it from there?
I think so. Hey wife, what is the corniest thing you've ever seen that isn't actually corn?
You?
What are you doing?
Just kidding. It's cornstarch, which is actually made of corn, so you got that wrong.
You refer to this as cornstarch?
Yeah.
No way. Where I'm from, this is corn flour.
Ooh, I really like this one on tacos.
A lot of people don't because they say that it tastes like soap.
Is it
So
coriander?
odd that that's the case, but cilantro will always have my heart.
And coriander.
Bro, this is the worst thing it ever invented, man. It is disgusting. This actually I only ever started having this because of the HelloFresh. I could never add it. My girlfriend loved it, but nah, man. I really didn't like coriander.
I refer to it as will not, but the sentiment is there.
Oh, Cadbury, my Cadbury. This is clearly a candy bar, but I probably would call it chocolate bar nowadays, too. I wonder why.
I would also call it a chocolate bar because I always have, and I've influenced her beyond belief.
Oh yes, this
Come
is
on.
chili, which can be vegetarian, and
Chili
I know
con
that that
carne?
is a very scary statement for some of you.
And that includes in the United Kingdom where we typically do have chili with meat, and because of that, we refer to it as chili con carne. There's perhaps no more well-known British-American food difference than this one. Clearly, I refer to these as chips.
But I wouldn't. These are the thin ones. The thin ones I refer to as fries. Like the typical sort of McDonald's fries or whatever. I'd call them fries. It's like the chunky ones. The ones that I call chips. These thin ones, the thin long ones, I don't call them chips. I call them fries, but...
Fries.
But it should be said that whenever I've ordered fish and chips in this country, they have indeed gone by fish and chips.
Is that
Oh.
actually true? Because I feel like sometimes when they have fish and chips on the menu and then you order it, you end up with potato chips and then you absolutely hate it.
Yeah, that happened once and I've never been back to that pub again. All right, raise your hand if you've just recently
Candy
been
floss.
to your state fair. I can only see her hand because you're not in the room. But of course, at state fairs and indeed at fairgrounds in England, you might find that sort of cotton ball thing that they put on sticks that you eat that's also sugary. We refer to that as candy floss.
And while I haven't had any since I was 6, we call it cotton candy. Are those molasses cookies?
I don't know, I didn't make them, but if they are, it would be doubly confusing. Because where I'm from, these are referred to as biscuits. And this is even more confusing because you have something called biscuits, which are kind of like, I don't know, savory scones.
I even have a recipe for biscuits, like American ones, on my website, which you can check in the description.
While this might look like a vegetable that the Super Mario Brothers might pull out of the ground,
Never been a fan of
it
this.
is in fact a vegetable that a qualified farmer would pull out of the ground. And syllabically, we take the longer approach to naming this vegetable because we refer to it as a beetroot,
And I just say beets. This might be my favorite vegetable, and that is the eggplant.
which was a
Yeah,
really disconcerting
eggplant,
term when I
aubergine.
first moved to the United States because I pictured eggs growing on
Where's
trees.
eggplant come
And that could be
from?
something to do with the fact that in the United Kingdom, we refer to these as aubergines. But I do have a confession to make after all of this.
What's that?
Because I didn't really eat these in the UK and I only learned to eat them in the United States, I have come to call them eggplants. That's it for this episode. Let me know in the comments
Gone
below
to the
your
dark
favourite
side,
British...
no. Yeah, this is another interesting one. I do find these ones just quite cool to see the differences. And I mean, again, shout out to him for getting his ad if you are interested in that. This video only came out today, actually. For me, it was today. So, I mean, if you are interested, I'm actually going to do this after the video. I'm going to try and sort this out for myself because I can't do this in the UK. I am, man, because HelloFresh is a really good thing for me when I used it before. You rocked, Tara, you did an awesome job. Yeah, she done well, man. It was actually cool to sort of see them both just sort of bouncing off each other. It was quite sick. That sounds like a mad term. You know what I mean. You rocked, Tara, you did an awesome job of representing our terminology with absolute perfection. Lawrence, she's a winner. Bring her on more often. Cilantro is the plant. Coriander is the seed of the plant. That being said, I'm not a cilantro fan. But coriander has a nice lemon pepper flavour that goes great with beef. Nah, coriander ain't the one, man. I have to say, doner kebabs always make me think of Doner Party and wonder just what's in them. I'm used to calling them gyros. But yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this reaction. Again, more Lost in the Pond on the way. Suggest a video if you want to see in future. And yeah, until next time, like, subscribe. Peace.